Greetings and welcome back to Room 303 in our chats with Emily, as we are calling our readings through the poetry of Emily Dickinson. We are in the Johnson edition, and we turn now to poem 411. The color of the grave is green. There will be a lot of carryover, it seems, from our study of Walt Whitman's Song of Myself, passage 6, when the young man comes to him and asks, "What is the grass?" And later he will say, "The uncut hair of graves." We'll be playing that game. Now, some have called this a very orderly poem because of the 3 pairs and the 2 stanzas each, and you'll see that it's laid out rather orderly in that regards. Our assumption is that you've been following our stuff at learnstrong.net, down that left-hand side, Chats with Emily, our playlist. I'm hopeful that you've worked through our set of introductory comments as well as our preceding 410 poems. We just finished with 410, the first day's night had come. And if you have done the preceding reading, you'll be able to place this poem as another one of what we can sometimes refer to as Emily's death poems, musings on death and the like. But I think it's more important than that. I think here we will see Emily one more time playing the Platonic game of perspective, the interior, the exterior. And ultimately she's going to make the argument that we carry the grave of a lost pal inside of us for the rest of our life. This is how she says it. The color of the grave is green, the outer grave, I mean. You would not know it from the field, except it own a stone to help the fond to find it, too infinite asleep to stop and tell them where it is, but just a daisy deep. The color of the grave is white, the outer grave, I mean. You would not know it from the drifts in winter till the sun has furrowed out the aisles. Then higher than the land the little dwelling houses rise, where each has left a friend. The color of the grave within, the duplicate, I mean. Not all the snows could make it white, not all the summers green. You've seen the color, maybe, upon a bonnet bound, when that you met it with before, the ferret cannot find. Now, notice she moves from spring to winter, and then to the interior landscape. She'll begin by talking about the color of the grave is green, the outer grave, I mean. And this phrasing is, again, why we called our series Chats with Emily. There's a certain kind of familiarity. This is what I mean. This is what I'm talking about, right? She says, you would not know it from the field except it own a stone. In other words, you got to have a tombstone, because once you put somebody in the ground and bury them, unless you have a marker, they just go back to the dirt. To help the fond, and it's interesting, she uses fond in 12 different poems, but only this time as a noun, the fond, that is to say the friend, it will be friend later, to find it. And then notice the one who is in the grave. This takes us back to poem 182 with the word asleep. Too infinite asleep to stop and tell them where it is, but just a daisy deep. And again, her use of the word daisy is significant. The color of the grave is white, so we go from green now to white, obviously the snow. The outer grave, I mean, and we're again back to that phrasing. You would not know it from the drifts in winter, till the snow, obviously in New England especially, the snow can cover the entire tombstone, till the sun has furrowed out the aisles. It's interesting that she would use the language almost of the church, aisles. Then higher than the land the little dwelling houses rise. I think here of Thomas Gray's elegy in a country churchyard, where he plays a similar kind of word picture game. We've given a full lecture at learnstrong.net. The little dwelling houses, notice both capitalized, rise where each has left a friend. And I think that's the key phrase, the left a friend, right? The color of the grave within, and now we move from the green to the white, now to the color of within. And we realize, oh, she's not talking about within the grave. The duplicate, I mean, there's 2 internal graves. There's the grave that's physical, and then obviously the one we carry. Not all the snows could make it white, not all the summers green. You've seen the color. This is one of the things that makes Emily's poetry, as we pointed out, so remarkable. It's like she, much like Walt, right, Whitman, reaches out and kind of pulls you in. You've seen the color, and then she'll dash, and then maybe dash, upon a bonnet bound, when that you met it with before. The ferret cannot find. The ferret, of course, that weasel that will bury into the earth. What is the point she's making in 2a? I think her argument is that we carry part of the grave within us, grieving, obviously, for a lost pal. At 2b, many have pointed out the common measure of this poem is the common measure of the hymnal, and there does seem to be kind of that sense of the hymnal. We have, as well, all kinds of literary games being played. Consider the alliteration, for example, that she'll play with. As the sounds of this poem. It's a fun poem to read. Grave, green, grave, not, no, for example, in stanza 1. From, field, fond, find, in stanzas 1 and 2. Daisy, deep, in stanza 2. Bonnet, bound, before, and ferret, find, in stanza 6. And we also have assonance, right? Own, stone, in stanza 1. Then, land, and left, friend, in stanza 4. Green, seen, in stanzas 5 and 6. And then consider the consonants of fond, find, help, asleep, stop, deep, in stanza 2. Emily's playing all kinds of sound games as she's making her point. At 3a, well, obviously, we could argue all of the quote-unquote death poems of Emily, but I want us to think about John Donne's death poems. Of course, Holy Sonnet 10 in valediction forbidding mourning, as virtuous men pass mildly away and whisper to their souls to go, while some of their sad friends do say the breath goes now, and some say no. We've given full lectures on both of these poems. Donne is always playing a similar kind of inside-outside view of death, which I find fascinating. Finally, at 3b, what is a grave that you carry with you? Maybe a pal that you had to say goodbye to. And I hope Emily's challenging you in that regards. Thank you.